Alright, this video is a little different to what I usually upload. I wanted to change things up a little and make a tier list video. I chose the Scary Movie franchise because I have always enjoyed these movies and the jokes are pure gold, at least in most of them. I think I will make more of these types of videos in the future too. Before I start the ranking, please consider subscribing. It helps me out a lot, and if you enjoy these videos, feel free to leave a like too. I also left a link for the tier list in the description if you want to make your own. Now first off, we have the original Scary Movie. This is S tier. This film earns S tier because it perfectly understands what parody is supposed to do: exaggerate, critique, and mock its source material while still functioning as a coherent movie. Unlike weaker parody films that rely purely on random jokes, Scary Movie has a clear narrative spine modeled after Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. That structure allows the humor to build naturally instead of feeling pasted on. One of the biggest strengths is its commitment to genre literacy. The writers clearly understand slasher tropes: final girls, ominous phone calls, clueless authority figures, and then push those ideas to ridiculous extremes. The jokes work because they're rooted in recognition. Character exaggeration is another key factor. Cindy, Brenda, and the rest aren't just random caricatures. They're amplified versions of familiar horror archetypes. This gives the film continuity and lets recurring jokes pay off over time instead of disappearing after one scene. The movie also balances shock humor with clever satire, which is something later entries struggle to replicate. Even when jokes are crude, they're usually tied to genre commentary rather than being crude for its own sake. That intentionality gives the movie lasting appeal. Culturally, this movie was massive. It didn't just parody horror films. It helped spark an entire wave of early 2000s spoof movies. Many later parody failures misunderstood what made Scary Movie work, focusing on surface-level references instead of structural parody. This movie also had some iconic scenes like Cindy pushing the piano or some shit down the stairs or ghost faces rapping. Scary Movie 1 is probably the most memorable one out of all of them. Now Scary Movie 2 for me is also S tier. One of my favorite intros to any movie ever. The Exorcist scene is legendary and is not matched in the rest of the series for me. The biggest strength of Scary Movie 2 is its individual set pieces. Many scenes are iconic on their own, and the cast commits fully to the absurdity. When the movie works, it works loudly. This movie is a bit more absurd than the first one, but that is probably why I like it so much. Some of the jokes may seem a little repetitive, but I don't mind it too much. Now Scary Movie 3 is a tier. Scary Movie 3 succeeds by changing direction instead of copying what came before. With the Wayans gone, the film shifts toward a more classic parody style. This tonal change could have killed the franchise, but instead it gave it new life. The humor here relies heavily on deadpan delivery, timing, and visual absurdity rather than rapid-fire shock jokes. Leslie Nielsen's performance is especially important. His complete seriousness in ridiculous scenarios elevates jokes that would otherwise fall flat. His presence anchors the film in a style of comedy that values restraint over chaos. Structurally, this movie is surprisingly solid. It mainly parodies The Ring and Signs, and unlike later sequels, it sticks to those films long enough to fully explore their ideas. Scenes are allowed to breathe, and jokes are integrated into the plot rather than interrupting it. That said, the film lacks the raw edge and cultural impact of the original. Some jokes feel intentionally safe, and the movie doesn't take as many risks. It's clever but rarely daring. Still, its consistency puts it far above most late-era parody films. After this, a lot of the jokes also start to seem the same or something similar. Scary Movie 4 is a C tier for me. By the time this movie arrived, the parody formula was clearly losing steam. The film leans heavily on references to contemporary horror and sci-fi films, but instead of deconstructing them, it often just recreates scenes with a joke layered on top. The problem here isn't that the jokes are awful, it's that they're uninspired. Many gags feel predictable, and the movie rarely surprises the audience. There's little sense of escalation or clever subversion. The film jumps rapidly from reference to reference without letting scenes develop. This makes the humor feel rushed and disposable. While there are occasional bright spots, they're buried under filler. There are still some enjoyable moments in this movie, and one very iconic scene of Cindy talking in Japanese. There are a few other scenes like this what are pretty funny and feel like the first 3 movies, but they are not as good or as many. And finally, Scary Movie 5. There is nothing much to say. Actually, this movie just missed the mark for me. This film fails because it fundamentally misunderstands what parody is. Instead of exaggerating genre conventions, it relies on random gags, disconnected scenes, and shallow references to recent movies. There's no cohesive vision or comedic rhythm. The absence of strong characters makes everything worse. Without recognizable personalities, jokes have no emotional anchor. Scenes come and go without build-up or payoff, making the humor feel empty. Worse still, the movie mistakes noise for comedy. Many jokes rely on repetition or shock without context, which quickly becomes tiring. The result is a film that feels less like a parody and more like a collection of rejected skits. Even as a standalone comedy, it struggles. As a franchise entry, it actively damages the brand. So this is my ranking or tier list of the Scary Movie franchise. Majority of the movies are amazing, but the final 2 definitely were a step down. Hopefully Scary Movie 6 will be as good or better as the old movies, and it should come out pretty soon. Right now, it is supposed to come out in June, so I am pretty excited for that. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will probably make more tier lists, and this was pretty fun. Leave a like if you enjoyed. See you guys later.